Mark Robinson, first black lieutenant governor of North Carolina, running to be the first black governor of the state. New report could be a problem. Claims that between 2008 and 2012, Robinson posted a series of offensive comments on a pornographic website called Nude Africa. He allegedly called himself a black Nazi, supporting a return to slavery, even saying he wanted to own a slave or two. Robinson will now be a no-show at Donald Trump's rally in North Carolina tomorrow, despite Trump praising him like this.
Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay, now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
What is going to be the fallout over this? Let's bring in a national co-chair of Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign, Nina Turner, and Republican strategist Melik Abdul. It's good to have you both. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Martin Luther King on steroids? Martin Luther King times 2? I mean, geez. Nina, first of all, both of you, is there such a thing as a black Nazi? Do you believe this guy Robinson is a racist toward his own race? Nina, do you believe that? Is that a thing?
Well, Cuomo, it's not necessarily a thing from an academic perspective. When we talk about racism, we're talking about institutional, structural racism as a basis of collective power, economically, politically, and socially. Now, he might be racist adjacent, but just his individual views as a black man in America does not necessarily make him a racist. We're not talking about individual prejudice or biases. We're talking about a system, and that's what we must grapple with. However, the man has a lot of self-hate. This is absolutely insane talk to say that he would want to own slaves. Does he understand the nature of chattel slavery in the United States of America? Something wrong with the man, Chris. And I got 2 words for him: seek help. He needs to seek help because there's something wrong with him. Now, President Donald J. Trump comparing this man to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he is the antithesis of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., really. And it's an insult to what Dr. King and his contemporaries stood for.
Mr. Abdul, what's your take?
Well, you know, Donald Trump is no stranger to using this type of language. He compares himself to Abraham Lincoln. In fact, if you listen to him, he would suggest that he's been better for black voters than Abraham Lincoln. What he said about Mark Robinson, I'm not a fan of Mark Robinson. I've never been a fan of his, nor his style of politics, which really borrows from the fire and brimstone like tradition of black pastors. Some of the things that he said, you know, it may have passed maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago. It just won't fly now. And this is one of the many comments, what we're seeing with the CNN story. This is one of many comments that Mark Robinson have made that have been offensive about MLK, about Barack Obama, about gays, about Jews. He's done this many, many times, and Donald Trump would do himself well to fully distance himself from, not just don't come to a rally. Donald Trump should cut ties with this guy because he never should have been on the Trump train in the beginning.
All right, let's flip
Chris,
to the other side.
North Carolina could do so much better. The fact that this man has made it this far is also an indictment on the state of North Carolina. They got to do better. We don't want them. We give them the Black Coalition right now. Chris, on your show, I'm going to speak for all black people. The Black Coalition does not want Mark Robinson. We don't even want a replacement. We're just going to give him up. But he is not a representation of black America.
A Democrat and a Republican in eager agreement with one another. We finally found an issue that can bring both sides into consensus. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.